My name is Fidel. So I'm managing a new project called the Global Experiments Network, in which we're trying to test and analyze outcomes from forest restoration. And with that, we're trying to see which are the methods to have better outcomes from forest restoration in terms of environment and people. On a daily basis, what I do is to, at the moment, try to select indicators for analyzing and monitoring forest restoration efforts globally that can be cost-effective and practical for organizations to use, so they can have the best outcomes from their efforts, and we can get to know what are the advances on forest restoration globally. I'm also supporting the work of my teammates on setting up experiments which compare natural regeneration and active tree planting, and also the diversity or the levels of biodiversity they should have for planting trees. So my work matters in the way that we're trying to understand which are the most cost-efficient practices that really maximize biodiversity and carbon sequestration, and to be able to analyze and think about how long these practices should be implemented in the ground, because it's really not just a matter of restoring or protecting for a couple of years. It should be really a long-term effort that people should do. So how can we make it for it to work in a long term, and how for it to be measured or monitored in a long term, for us to understand how is it going and what should we be doing better. So I come from a background working with different ecosystems and organisms. The bigger step before this project was doing my PhDs with a model organism for conservation and sustainable forest management in the Amazon. It's called the Brazil nut tree. For that, I was working with gene flow and genetic diversity and understanding the role of genetic diversity for performance of these trees. And then we started to try to think how to plant the trees in the most cost-efficient way that maximizes benefits. And with that, I started to get into tree planting and trying to understand what are these benefits and how to do it the best way. And that was a natural way into restoration. I really like how diverse it is in terms of nationalities and languages. I really like how interdisciplinary it is. You always learn something new from different fields. But I think what I react the most is how passionate people are about their work. Everybody's working with their own little different things, but everybody really burns for working with that. And call it restoration or mycorrhizal fungi, theoretical ecology. They really, really like what they're doing, and they really see how that could be applied into the ground. CrossFit, for example, sometimes snowboarding, sometimes playing beach volley. In a more mental way, I like starting to go into improvisational theater, which is really interesting and funny. And then I'm always happy to just have a coffee or a beer with friends. Sweat, which means it's good. It's a question, it's an answer. Sweat. Sweat.